Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine. Continue with the viewing history. I have talked the dynasties and the emperors and also some related event and in historical stories, historical legend, historical figures and the historical novels. Today I'm going to talk about something about the historic time when the Western world officially connected with the nation. I'm not talking about at the business or civilian level, but it's the official means the emperor. In the emperor's court, there's some people from the priest or the English teacher from the Western country. From the record I read, it's in Qing dynasty. After Kangxi, I think QianLong was probably the one really start to show interest to the Western, and also the Western world start to send people in the nation around the palace in QianLong's time. So he had a teacher or priest from I do not know which country, but from the West. I do not forgot the name, but this person, if you visit the Forbidden City, you will see some record about this QianLong's English teacher, probably. So he started to show the interest. And also, I think probably after Yuan dynasty, this is a gradual stage, because Yuan dynasty, the territory was enlarged, across the Mediterranean to the Europe. So that's probably the starting of the connections. Probably, even though not without seeing record in the palace or in the emperor's court, but still probably in terms of the civilian people or the business, or probably already have some interactions. And until Qing dynasty at QianLong's time, it's the most, I think it's climbing up at his time, and the country becomes, that dynasty became more and more prosperous. So he had this English advisor or teacher or friend, and show him, I think he's the one who really started to have the Western style of life, some of it. And during his time, he also had some architecture. It's integration of the Western and also the China style. So he was the one to build the garden of bright circle. I think that's probably not accurate. Yuan Ming Yuan. It's garden of the bright circle. I think that's probably what it means. Unfortunately, this garden was burned in around 1848, when the Western world invaded the nation, and there's some remnant and there's some ruins still there. And fortunately, if you're interested, you can visit. It's still a lot of stories. There's original plan, a sketch of that garden. It was spectacular. I think it's sublime. At that time, sublime all the Western buildings properly. That caused the uneasiness somehow, because it is not just it integrated in Western and the Eastern style together, built this wonderful garden. Probably at that time, it's just like it's very advanced in terms of the design and the light from the nature, and also the water's special. There's a very unique part. Need a talent to build that garden. So if you went to the Tiantan, the heaven temple of heaven, you know there's a stone there. If you stand on that stone, it's like the voice of the sound amplifier. And this again, in this garden round circle also had some unique part, mimic that feature. So anyway, so after him started gradually more and more people from Western world to enter the country. Even at the end, the Empress Cixi, she had the connections also, because officials under her brought this train to the country, introduced the train from the Western world. But she, there's a record, she was feared of this honking of the train. She thought that's a monster, so was not allowed to run. So that's about the integration of this nation from Qing dynasty, QianLong, to the Western. And the unique part about that QianLong, he's very smart. He accept or embrace the new culture, new technology. So that's why he's under his time, the dynasty grew very prosperous, very strong, and that's why attract the Western people start to pay attention or to interested in the nation. And in terms of this garden, if you're interested, you can search. I think there are a lot of unique part. I think at that time it's like currently, if you visit Shanghai or Beijing, the airport, the subway, or the transportation, the train system, it's the top almost. So at that time, there's another top peak time around QianLong when he built the Garden of Bright Circle. So we refresh back those histories, learning that it's always repeat, but not in the same way. It's up and down, from east to the west or from west to the east. It's just like a circling a cycle. So, but the purpose for this video is to introduce you to about the Forbidden City. It's a wonderful historical building complex. 9,1999 houses probably, but it's just a wonderful building and a lot of stories. Of course, when you enter that door, you can sense the history still echoing, and the remnant of this garden is also quite a view, because also associated with the wonderful histories. If you're interested, the purpose for the video here is to briefly, a superficial introduction of the nation around, and also the connection to the Western world, and more importantly about the Forbidden City and also some other places in Beijing. It's wonderful. It's really worth to visit. So if you're interested, you can search. Probably you can find some historical event, historical legend, historical stories that intrigue you to write your stories. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.